Hello, everyone, and I want to say a huge Happy New Year to all our friends on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you all for being such faithful viewers and dedicated to our channels, and we certainly appreciate the platforms that we are blessed to be on, and we appreciate all our friends that views the videos. So, this is technically 2024. We was blessed to be in a wonderful watch night service, and as of the making of this video, it is currently January the 1st, 2024 in the morning hours around 2:51 a.m. And so I want to look at a couple of scriptures that I trust will be a blessing to you. There's no way that we can get in depth into these couple of verses in the 8 minutes or so that we have here on this video, so we'll just try to hit the high spots. But once again, I want to say Happy New Year to each and every one of you. I hope it's a blessed one, and I hope it's a prosperous new year for you, and may God richly bless you in this year of 2024. 2 Kings chapter 13, 2 Kings chapter 13, verse number 20 and 21. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the bands of the Moabites invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that behold, they spied a band of men, and they cast the man into the sculpture of Elisha. And when the man was let down and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood up on his feet. Now, those two verses contain a lot of content, more than I can get out in the time that I have remaining on this video. But notice when all of this happened, it said that it happened at the coming in of the year. And that's what I want to talk about just for a few moments from these verses, the coming in of the year. So it sounds like a brand new year has started during this time. Now, there was one thing that Elisha desired from Elijah, and that was a double portion of the spirit of Elijah. And Elisha, he wanted to see double the miracles of Elijah. And God blessed Elisha to see all of them in his life, except for the very last one. And the very last miracle that made up the double portion of Elijah was seen in Elisha's death that I have read to you in these scriptures. The Bible said Elisha died, so it's a very depressing time. The prophet of God has just passed away. And the Bible said they buried him, and the bands of the Moabites invaded the land. So Elisha's dead, and they buried him. They're grieving, they're sad because the prophet of God has passed on, and now war is getting ready to invade the land of Israel. And the Moabites, one of their enemies, invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And the Bible said it came to pass as they were burying a man. Now, this man perhaps was one of the men that had died as a result of the battle. It don't specifically say, but I assume that he was probably on the battlefield fighting, and he began to die. And the Bible said it came to pass as they were burying a man, that behold, they spied a band of men, and they cast the man into the sculpture of Elisha. And when the man was let down and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood up on his feet. You talking about embalming medicine. They don't have nothing at the local funeral homes like this. The Bible said that they was going to bury this man that's in the process of that, and they spied the enemy, so they began to take him to the sculpture of Elisha. And the Bible said when he was let down and he touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood up on his feet. Now, I want to say this was at the coming in of the year, the scripture said. They experienced revival. And I thought about revival in the bones of the church. In Ezekiel chapter number 37, we see that God sets Ezekiel out in the midst of a valley full of dry, dead bones. And these bones are all separated. And God asks the prophet a question: can these bones live? And the prophet doesn't really say yes or no. He says, Lord, thou knowest. And the God spoke to him and said, prophesy unto these bones. And he did as the Lord commanded him, and bone started coming to bone, and flesh started coming upon these bones, and life started entering into these bones. Now, this was the type of the nation of Israel that had been divided and separated, and the nation of Israel had become in a poor and a pitiful state, in a poor and a pitiful condition. And God was saying, just as I put these bones together, just as I put flesh upon these bones, and just as I've allowed life to enter back into these bones, He was saying to the nation of Israel, you've been separated and divided, but I can bring you back together in unity and in harmony. I can breathe upon you and revive you. I can put flesh upon you. And I believe there's even an application for the church of today. We have been separated and divided too long. It's time that we allow God to unify us and make us one with Him. Not only that, but we need the life of God flowing in us once again. We need revival in the bones of the church. When this man's body touched the bones of Elisha, the Bible said he revived and stood up on his feet. I want to say, in this coming year of 2024, we need revival. We need restoration. We need help and strength. We need God's grace. We need His mercy. We need His love. We need His salvation. We need redemption. We need reconciliation. I mean, I could talk about so many of God's attributes and credentials that you and I need in this new year. We just cannot make it without them. And I pray that in this new year that we are facing, that we will get sincere with God and come to terms with God and realize that if He don't help us, we have no help. If He is not our hope, then there is no hope. But I'm glad there is help in the Lord, and I'm glad that there is hope in Him. So I just wanted to come on briefly and share these verses of Scripture with you. It was at the coming in of the year that Elisha's miracle was performed in his death that made up the double portion. I want to say, friend, in this upcoming year, I'd love to see revival in the bones of the church, souls being saved, the church being edified, and God being glorified in everything that we do. Certainly that's what it's all about. We're coming into a brand new year, the year 2024. I don't know what this year holds for any of us. It'll probably be similar to the years behind us and the years that we've came through. But I do know that God's grace is sufficient. And I do know that if we are determined and willing, that God will bless us with revival in this last day in which we live. Now, again, it's 3 a.m. in the morning here, so I'm a little bit sleepy. And if I've said anything silly or what have you, I apologize in advance for that. But I appreciate everybody on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I want to say a great big hello to every one of you. Read these scriptures, 2 Kings 13, verse 20 and 21. The coming in of the year, the revival hit the land, is what I get out of this text. And so, in the coming new year, I pray that revival will hit our land and that we can experience something great by the hand of God. God bless you. Thank you for watching the video.